Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. You already know who it is, man. It is your boy Lewis, and I am back once again with another banger with yet another video. Before I start with this video, man, you guys know the deal, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to always receive the latest and greatest content. I truly appreciate you guys for always taking the time to watch my videos, man. And then at the end of each video, man, you guys know the deal. Make sure to like and share this video, man. It'll truly only help the channel grow. I appreciate you guys as always, man. Hope everybody's enjoying their Monday afternoon. I just came back from the gym, so I am like super sore, but like, you know, this old saying goes, no pain, no gain. So, I just had to work out today because I was feeling kind of sluggish over the weekend, especially not being able to work out, throughout the week. So I've been able to work out these last 2 days, but once again, trying to stay healthy, man, and just trying to get into shape, man, getting ready for the summer, So we're in March, so it's that stretch run to, really start getting ready and grind. But anywho, into this video. So I had one of my friends talk to me this morning about this, and he wanted me to do a video on this. So I had promised him that I was going to do this. And this is about one of my favorite players growing up. A guy who inspired many people, to fall in love with the game of basketball. And it is the NBA great, NBA Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about that cornrow guy himself. AI, baby, Allen Iverson. Shout out to AI fans out there. I am a huge AI fan. Love and respect what this guy brought to the game, man. Was able to dominate the game at his size in a league when the league was all about the big guy. Allen Iverson is one of those guys that doesn't really get talked about. He was actually one of those that also changed the paradigm. When you look at Michael Jordan and you look at Isaiah Thomas, they changed the paradigm in winning championships. Jordan did it dominating at the two guard position. Well, Allen Iverson, he changed the paradigm in that a small guy can lead the league in scoring and he can dominate the game of basketball. AI played most of his career with the Philadelphia 76ers. He ended up playing for the Denver Nuggets for 2 years, and then he got traded to the Detroit Pistons and signed with Memphis before he decided to call it quits. So we look at Allen Iverson's career. The guy was the #1 overall draft pick in the 96 draft, the historic 96 draft class. That includes Hall of Famers Steve Nash, Ray Allen, future Hall of Famer Kobe Bryant. You're talking about Marcus Camby, Antoine Walker, Stephon Marbury, Peja Stojakovic, like a little more of the unknowns, Jermaine O'Neal. The list goes on and on. But he was the #1 draft pick from Georgetown. I remember him coming into the league real clean cut, short hair. The guy's from Hampton, Virginia, 6 foot, 165 pounds. Had an incredible NBA career. The one guy that you can honestly say that crossed both MJ and Kobe in regular season games and crossed them up pretty badly. Allen Iverson, what can you say about him? He was quick, he was fast, he was difficult to contain. You would have to have his speed to be able to match him defensively because he was very fast, especially in the open court. When he played for the Sixers, they used Iverson kind of like if he was a shooter. Even though he was the main option, they would have Iverson come off of screens. That was the job of the bigs in Philadelphia. They would have him come off of screens where he could shoot open shots, knowing that he was going to get the most attention. Allen Iverson may not be the most prolific shooter. He may not be the most efficient shooter. But Allen Iverson was going to, win or lose, taking the amount of shots. And if you look at Allen Iverson's career, the only all-star he really played with was Carmelo Anthony. Now, other than Rip Hamilton, and what I mean by this is that, yes, he played with Rip Hamilton, who was an all-star, but what I mean is Carmelo Anthony was like that top-tier scorer, that 20-plus point game scorer, like that 24 to 26 point per game scorer that Allen Iverson really never played with in his career. What can you say about Allen? I believe he's a 12-time all-star? I could be wrong. If I am wrong, one of you guys can correct me. But Allen Iverson led the league in steals, I believe, 3 times. He's won 4 scoring titles. Led the 76ers to the NBA Finals on a team where Aaron McKee only averaged, 13.3 points per game and was 6-man. His point guard was Eric Snow, so they moved Iverson to the 2 because AI was a primary point guard. And Allen Iverson is another one of those players that's a hybrid because he can score like a 2 guard, but he played the point when he started his career. People don't say this enough about Allen. Allen started to become more of a layup guy around his 4th to 5th seasons. But if you look at his first 3 years, Allen Iverson was actually one of the most athletic small players in NBA history. He actually used his athleticism a lot. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of big guys he dunked on early in his career, man. Just look at Allen Iverson in his first 3 seasons and look at the tape. He dunked on a lot of bigs. He was crazy athletic for somebody that just 6 foot 165. He went against, some of the best scorers in NBA history, a lot of duels. What was fortunate about Allen is that he only went to the NBA Finals once. And I think, when me and my friend were talking back and forth, we were basically saying, you kind of wish that Allen Iverson did one. I mean, let's look at the impact that he put in the NBA. This guy was the hip hop. He brought in the hip hop style. He changed the culture in terms of it was acceptable to wear hip hop clothing. It was acceptable to have a hip hop image. He idolized Michael Jordan, but he said it himself. He was trying to be the first Allen Iverson. And I think he did a pretty good job of that, man. He inspired so many people, even people who you would least expect. There were even a lot of white people that supported Iverson. And the one thing that people understood about Allen Iverson is he gave this portrayed notion that no matter what you look like, it's what you bring to the table, man, how you play the game. And if you play the game the right way, people will respect you no matter what you look like, man. If you look like in his case, people are going to say, yo, a thug, he's a gangbanger. The one thing I appreciated about Allen Iverson is that even though he looked like a guy that wasn't coachable, let's face it, him and Larry Brown, they used to butt heads a lot. But Allen Iverson allowed Larry Brown to coach him. And even Allen Iverson said this when he did the interview with Steve Smith. If you guys haven't seen it, he said Larry Brown was preparing me to be the MVP. And I didn't get it at first. And he said, I always loved Larry Brown. It's just we always had different visions on how we wanted to, help the team win. He had his way, I had our way. And he's like, it was just a thing for us to come and try to understand each other, man, for us to try to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And let me say this right now. You could talk about the Eastern Conference this week, which it was from 2000 to this current day and age, even though the East has improved this year. But Allen Iverson, I said it before, and you can look at my video when comparing LeBron's 2018 run to Allen Iverson's 2001. At no point is LeBron's run more better than AI's 2001 run. Let's face it. He beat the Indiana Pacers. Were not the same team they were in 2000, but they still presented problems to the Sixers, and Allen Iverson beat them in a tough 4-game series. And then you look at this is when they got the Dikembe Mutombo, by the way. Then they also beat in that classic 7-game series against the Toronto Raptors. Very good Toronto team, and actually Toronto was the better team. It's just, what was unfortunate was Vince Carter decided to attend his graduation the day of the game. People are gonna, they're gonna go back and forth with that. At the end of the day, that was his decision, but they felt like he could have focused better, and he would be able to win. He would have been able to win the game, and his head probably would have been in the game, and the Sixers would have been a second-round exit. I remember Allen Iverson went off in that 2001 season. He led the league in scoring at 31 a game. He led the league in steals. He was the All-Star Game MVP, and he, ended up winning the MVP award and leading the Sixers to the best record in the Eastern Conference at 56 wins. And then in 2001, they went against prime Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, and Glenn Robinson, 2-time All-Star, man, and they beat that talented Bucks team that won 52 games. They were not a great defensive team, but offensively, they were one of the best in basketball. And this is in the hero ball era. This was one of the best defensive eras in NBA history that nobody talks about, which I continue to say that Kobe Bryant played in, but it's like people just want to discredit Kobe as in like he played in such a soft era. Like when Kobe was entering his prime and you were really starting to see it, he played in a very, very tough era. Like Kobe's played in physical eras. I mean, and Allen Iverson was the same thing. I mean, Allen Iverson played with a ton of injuries. And he never used it as an excuse to not go out and play 110%. Now, when you ask Allen Iverson about X's and O's, he's not the first guy to go to because, he'll just tell you, we're not really playing well. But he really can't explain to you why things aren't going the way they are. But he was a good team defender. He never quit on his team. He gave the Philly fans 110%, including the coaching staff and his teammates. That's why he's one of the most respected players in NBA history. And a lot of his teammates, talk about Allen. Like I said, he brought that culture that everybody accepted. I know David Stern was trying to do everything he possibly could to clean up that image. You know, Allen Iverson was full of tattoos. And the funny thing is, when AI had injured his elbow during the 2000-2001 season, he put that arm sleeve. It was just to protect his arm, but it actually became a trademark. And it was because of that, a lot of players have started to wear the one armband, but that was all started by Allen Iverson. And this was all because of an injury. But then David Stern said, you need to cover up those tattoos because it's like, this is not the kind of image we want to be displaying to the NBA and our fans, that the NBA is a thuggish, you know, hip hop league. Like I said, which again, Allen Iverson is a huge influence in that, man, because it was the hip hop era when we're talking about, you know, basketball, you know, when AI was just, you know, really coming up and, you know, really showing that he was, you know, the real deal. You know, he talks about, you know, how much respect he has for Kobe Bryant and how much he loves him. And I love that AI said that. Because once again, just like AI, Kobe Bryant gets really slighted in terms of like what Kobe Bryant brought to the game. You know, it's just crazy how much disrespect. It's like now it's like I'm starting to see it. Like it's such a dying breed when you hear guys like Kobe and Allen. Like those guys brought a flair to the game that made the game fun to watch. And it's like, you know, you don't see that anymore. Like it's slowly starting to come back. But it's like we're such in a different era now where teams have to, you know, teams are going to team up. But again, once again, people want to talk about Kevin Durant over here, but it's like this all started with LeBron James. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to lead a little snippet right before I get back on Allen Iverson. LeBron James has been trying to recruit players since 2006. He even this season openly had an interview with Rachel Nichols and said, I have feverishly been recruiting players since 2007. I'm just going to leave it at that. I said since 2006, and it's true because there is an article on Bleacher Report from 2006 on LeBron trying to recruit Dwayne Wade and Carmelo. I will talk more about that in a future video, so just stay tuned on that. And like I said, I will also will record the shop and the segment with both Anthony Davis and Antonio Brown on LeBron's show. So stay tuned for those guys. But anyway, back to Allen Iverson. So Allen Iverson, like I said, man, he just brought a style and flair that people just, you know, were amazed to watch. Like, how can a little guy at his size be able to dominate the game the way he does, scoring? And he didn't care. He didn't care who he went against. He wasn't afraid to challenge anybody. You know, unfortunately, he lost to Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers in 2001. But his run to the finals was so impressive. He went to 2 7-game series with both the Raptors and the Bucks. And he had that was such a highlight postseason that season. People don't even give the credit that he gets for being triple teamed in that Game 7 against Toronto when he didn't shoot the ball well. He only had 21 points. He had 2 50-point games in that series, 152 and 154. He had 21 points and 16 assists in a Game 7. And the Sixers only won by 1. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, in Games 6 and 7, 46 points, 44 points. You know, so he does that. And then in Game 1 of the Finals that year, he gives you 48 points. So in 3 games in the last, what you want to talk about? Wow. In the last 12 quarters, Allen Iverson gave you 138 points. Spectacular. You know, big influence, like I said, in this of the hip hop generation that we was in a very big time period. You know, had cornrows. Like I said, he had the tattoos, he had a swag, he wore chains, he wore jerseys. Like a lot of players in the NBA started to do that. And that's the influence that Allen Iverson has that nobody even really talks about. And like I said, he influenced so many different people. Like it's crazy how he brought a hip hop image, but he brought a lot of diversity because there were a lot of different races that really respected Allen Iverson. And they said, yo, I love his heart. I love what he brought to the game, man. He brought like a ferocity, man, intensity. Like he just brought heart. No matter how many injuries he played with, and one note, Iverson and Kobe in 2001 played with 11 injuries each, both of them. And they still played with, and they still, like I said, brought it every single night, no matter what. So now this segment is on like, who could have Allen Iverson played with to help him win a championship? what's really difficult about this is Allen Iverson has a street ball style to his game. It was what Kobe actually had in the first 3 years of his career before learning the triangle. And you saw a different Kobe Bryant. He still had a little bit of the street ball style, but it was actually much more structured. And then when you looked at it, he worked on his game to the point where he was showing you like a really diversified skill set. But Allen Iverson, what's unfortunate, and Kobe did have Shaq, obviously, but Allen Iverson really didn't have that second star. Now, when you look at Allen Iverson's game, who could you have paired him up with? That's what's so really difficult in terms of him winning a championship. Because if you guys remember, Allen Iverson got traded to the Denver Nuggets in 2006, and he played on a team with what? Melo, J.R. Smith, Kenyon Martin, I think Nene, Marcus Camby. But the issue was you had two guys who scored the basketball in Melo and Iverson. That's why it was not going to work. That was iso ball. And I think in order for Allen Iverson to be able to do that, he would have to change his game. And what's unfortunate about Allen Iverson was he kind of knew only how to play one way. Even if Larry Brown structured the offense to where Iverson could come off screens, when you put him in isolation situations, he was just going to go one-on-one. So they kind of it's crazy how he was a one-on-one player, but Larry Brown's offense kind of treated him as if he was a shooter coming off screens. It was so that Allen Iverson didn't have the ball in his hands that much, but he still took a bulk of the shots because there was really nobody like that great. And the way they structured it, it was just, it was bad. The reason why Allen Iverson didn't go to another team was because Allen Iverson was very loyal to the city. And remember, at that time, players weren't jumping from team to team to form super teams to win championships. You were looking at 1 to 2 stars against 1 star, maybe no stars, maybe another 2 all-stars. It was actually more balanced at that time. Kobe and Shaq were really like the 2 main superstars when you really think about it. But it was a much more balanced league back then. So that's why Allen Iverson really didn't win a championship. And that's why, and like I said, he wanted to win them for the city of Philadelphia because, again, he felt the love and the connection that he had with the fan base. He appreciated for them accepting him for who he was. Like, it wasn't like if they were like, oh, you need to be a different person. They said, Allen Iverson, we accept you who you are as long as you just play your game. And like I said, play with effort, man, and just win our hearts. And that's exactly what Allen Iverson did. And, Allen Iverson forever to this day is grateful, he just says, for allowing the opportunity, getting drafted by Pat Croce, who he loves. John Thompson for allowing him to go to college when it looked like Allen Iverson wasn't even going to have a career after that situation that happened, years ago. I think back in '93 when he was involved in a shooting. I don't remember this scandal that happened. If you guys know what scandal it was, you guys, can correct me and, let me know. I kind of remember it, but not like so much so I can explain it. But, he almost didn't make it, to college. And the funny thing was Allen Iverson was being recruited by by a lot of top schools. Allen Iverson also played football, so he was a good football player too. So he was being recruited for football and basketball in a lot of schools. But after that scandal situation, he got cut off from pretty much everybody. And he almost went to jail. So we would have really never known about Allen Iverson had it not been for John Thompson giving him an opportunity. So John Thompson actually saved Allen Iverson's life. And Allen Iverson, I remember he cried in his Hall of Fame speech, and saying how much he thanked John Thompson, because if it wasn't for him, we would have never known who Allen Iverson was. And we don't know how the draft class was going to go. We don't know we don't know what the future would have unfolded in terms of like what the NBA would have been had Allen Iverson not been drafted first, as the first draft pick, had he gone to jail. So we would have never known. So it's just crazy how, history can change. How the future can be, determined, like if something like that doesn't ever cease to exist. So yeah, so his one opportunity when he played with another all-star in Carmelo, when he made it that year, there's my turn, your turn style wasn't going to work. Allen Iverson is a guy who plays passing lanes, but he really can't defend. It's been the same thing with Carmelo. He doesn't dedicate himself on the defensive end. It was like that way their whole career. So I think that it was pretty difficult for Denver. Plus, Allen Iverson was in the Western Conference. Too many good teams for him to go by. And he really didn't play the team game. Yes, Allen Iverson showed great leadership. He really did. He actually really cared about his teammates. When he was criticized for not being a leader his first 4 years of his career, he trusted Larry Brown. He allowed himself to be coachable when it looked like he wasn't at first. And, they won together. They were able to go to the finals. And that's what it is, man. And this is why Allen Iverson, to me, deserves a lot more respect than he is given credit for. The thing is, what happens is, what he's really remembered for, guys, is the way his career ended. I think that's why he doesn't get talked about a lot. And they look at him as very selfish because he, in his mind, thought that he could still start. It's what Carmelo's going through right now, and that's why Carmelo doesn't have a career. The experiment with the Nuggets failed miserably. They did win games, but they weren't able to get out of the first round. I mean, if you look at the Spurs and the Lakers, system teams. They didn't really have a system in Denver, which is kind of why they lost. And Allen Iverson was really not a system player. Like, the only thing that they really did, like I said, in Philly was, again, set screens because they treated him like a shooter so he wouldn't handle the ball as much. And he didn't really play on a lot of great Sixer teams. Like, that 2001 team is the best team he ever played on. And so my question would be, like, to you guys, I have a question for you guys. Like, what second star do you think would have been able to complement Allen Iverson's game where you think he could have won a championship? Or what team do you think Allen Iverson could have gone to win a ring in the prime of his career? Because it didn't work out in Denver because of the play style with his fellow mate Carmelo Anthony. They kind of do the same thing. It's just one's a forward and one's a combo guard. So that's what it is. He gets traded to Detroit for Chauncey Billups. And if you remember, Chauncey Billups is more of a traditional point guard. He helps Melo and them go to the Western Conference Finals that year in 2008, 2009. That was Chauncey's 7th straight conference finals appearance at the time. He showed really great leadership. It was actually the player that Melo needed. See, that's the thing with Melo. Melo has to play with a leader. When he plays with leaders is when you see Melo play at his best, at least offensively. But that's how Melo, you get the best out of him when you pair him with a leader, because Melo cannot lead a team. And I've said it before and I say it again. Melo, at best, is your third best player on a championship team. I don't care what anybody says. He's good, but his attitude, he gets lazy defensively. He gets lazy in practice. Like I said, if you haven't watched my videos, please go look at what caused Carmelo's demise in the NBA parts 1 and 2, and I explain why. But yeah, Allen Iverson, like I said, like, he went to Detroit and I think he made the All-Star team in 2009. The only issue is now he was on a very bad Detroit team that only won 39 games, and him and Rip Hamilton could never get their chemistry going. So they had a lot of issues there. It didn't work out. He ends up being, I believe, a free agent, and then he goes to the Memphis Grizzlies. But the Memphis Grizzlies are asking him to come off the bench, and he says no. Memphis thought that his role off the bench would have been nice in terms of having a reduced role instead of having a primary role as a starter where he could give them an offensive punch, because Memphis, we've always known them to be a struggling offensive team. Allen Iverson, no. He said, I'm too good to be coming off the bench. Like, I feel like I'm a starter, and I told you that's what Carmelo's going through right now. So that was what Allen Iverson's problem was at the tail end of his career. He started to have a lot of personal problems to the point where he had to retire. He ended up coming back to Philly, the team that drafted him, and he played his final season there. But that's what really was the demise of Allen Iverson. He was not being a team player at the end of his career. He kept thinking to himself that the older he got, that he could still be a top-level starter, and he could be a top scorer, and that he could lead a team to a championship. Like, I'm just as good as any one of these guys in the league. And his ego was his downfall. And so my question to you guys is, how do you think, what team did you think at the time that Allen Iverson could have gone to help him win a championship? Because my thing is, when I keep thinking about it, I just don't know. I just don't know. Because it didn't work with Carmelo. And Allen Iverson, like I said, is not really known as a system player. When I look at guys like Kobe, Shaq, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, when I look at those guys, all those guys had a system. That is how they won rings. Allen Iverson is not a system player. As much as I love and respect him for what he brought to the game of basketball and how his impact is, to me, very underrated, it's what prevented him from winning championships, to be honest with you. And that's why I keep saying, like, with his play style, I don't know what player you can pair him up with that would together be on a team where they could win a championship. Like, who would the coach be and what will the coaching style be? Like, how would you be able to coach a player to be able to allow his system, but to play with, a structured offense? Like, to me, that would have been, like, very difficult, especially in Allen Iverson's prime at that time period. Like, it, excuse me, it worked with LeBron because Dwayne Wade was watching tapes of Michael Jordan and said that he was going to play off the ball so that LeBron could still be able to play his system. So the Miami Heat implemented a system, but Dwayne Wade was able to play off the ball because he saw a lot of MJ. He watched a lot of MJ tapes. That's a true leader, and that's a guy who sacrificed himself for the good of LeBron. So Dwayne Wade has been more selfless. LeBron James has been very selfish. But once again, back to Allen Iverson. So that's what's so confusing. I just don't know what team he would have been able to fit on, especially with the fact that, again, if he would have taken a reduced role, he could have helped so many teams. But he, in his mind, felt that he was a starter and that he felt disrespected, that he would be relegated to a bench role. So that's why he didn't win a championship. And I said that his own ego was going to be the cause of him not winning. Next thing you know, Allen Iverson had a lot of off-the-court issues. He was depressed, and he ended up retiring, to me, a lot sooner than he could have. To me, he still had a lot to give. He just wouldn't accept that it wasn't his time to be a starter anymore. And that's what Carmelo's battling with right now. And it's just so ironic that they were teammates for 2 seasons. And the teams that they lost to were more, again, had a better structured system that played team basketball. Spurs and Lakers. So, yeah, that's the problem. But, like, even with all that, man, like, Allen Iverson was able to go into the Hall of Fame, got his jersey retired by the Philadelphia 76ers. Like I said, I love him. When I think of Allen Iverson, I think of... I look at a guy like Russell Westbrook. Like, when you look at Westbrook, he has the rage of a Kobe Bryant. He has the heart of an Allen Iverson. And his triple-doubles play style is reminiscent of Oscar Robertson. So Russell Westbrook is a really 3-in-1 player when you look at him. Because that's who he reminds me of when you look at his components as to the personality and character that Russell Westbrook displays on the basketball court. But one thing you can never take away from Allen Iverson, one thing you can never question is his heart. He brought it every single night, injured or not, never made excuses. He just went out there and played basketball. And like I said before, he's not a guy that you can ask about X's and O's because he's just going to tell you why a person plays well or doesn't play well. And he's just going to keep it simple. He's a street baller. That's been his play style his whole career. So look at it this way. It got him into the Hall of Fame. Because at his size, he was able to dominate an era where, again, we were still utilizing big men. We utilized post-game and we utilized the mid-range game. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why Allen Iverson is in the Hall of Fame. He was able to dominate at his size. One of my favorite players growing up, and I would have loved for him to win a championship. I just don't think his mindset, and I don't think, again, with his play style, he would have been able to win. So I ask you once again, ladies and gentlemen, what team do you think Allen Iverson would have been on that would have been able to utilize his scoring, but keep the team offense structured enough where they can win? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But once again, this is your boy Lewis with another one, man. Allen Iverson, truly one of the GOATs, man. Deserves a ton of respect, man. Shout out to the fans of Philadelphia, man. You guys got a real one, and he was great. You know what he brought. At least he was able to go to the finals one time, and he was able to get one on the vaunted Kobe and Shaq Lakers that went 15-1 in the postseason. The only player to get one. Game 2 was competitive and they only lost by 9. Game 3 was a close game. Like, the first 3 games were competitive. The other 2 were blowouts after that. But the first 3 games were looking like a very competitive series. It looked like if Philly could have possibly gotten 2 and pushed the Lakers to 6. And quite honestly, the 2001 Sixers could have been the 91 Bulls. I mean, not 1989 Bulls that won 2 games on the Pistons when they went 15-2 in their postseason run. But anywho, man, this is your boy Lewis with another one, man. As always, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments on the career of Allen Iverson, man. Bless up. One love. Peace. Thanks for watching.